guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video today I'm going to show you how I created this tiger face and body paint look. If you would like to see how I did it, then please keep on watching. The first thing I'm going to do is take an orange face paint and I'm going to apply this into the contours of my cheekbones. I'm then going to continue to apply that around the border of my face, pulling that up into my hairline, across my temples and my forehead. I'm then going to continue to apply that down the centre of my forehead and on the top of my nose and connecting that up to the little side parts of the contour we just applied. I'm pretty much leaving just two diamond shapes around my eyes. I'm then going to fill in my ears to make them nice and orange. Taking a glue stick, I'm going to apply this over my eyebrows to flatten the hairs so they're not visible through the paint. Then I'm just going to spoolie them flat. You will need to let your eyebrows dry for about 5 minutes until the glue is no longer tacky. So I'm going to move on to painting the body. I'm going to take that same orange that we used and I'm going to have to paint 2 layers to get a nice pigmented colour on my chest, because as you can see the first layer wasn't as pigmented as the face. I'm going to be applying that all around the borders of my shoulders and my chest, excluding the centre of my neck. I'm then going to lightly set my brows with some translucent powder to begin painting. Taking a sponge and some white face paint, I'm going to start buffing that into the areas where I want to highlight on my tiger. So tigers generally have some areas around their eyes that are quite bright and white, so you can look at a real reference photo if you wish. I'm going to go quite pigmented on the beard because tigers' beards are always very white and very intense. So I'm going to be densely packing that on and bringing that up around my nostrils as well. I'm going to lightly highlight in the centre of my forehead just to give a little bit of depth and shape to the face. Then I'm going to bring that all the way down my neck into the centre of the chest that we previously left open. Once your face is dry, you want to go back in with the same orange paint on that brush and lightly blend together the white and the orange pieces, so this is going to give a soft gradient. I'm then going to move on to black, so I'm taking black face paint on a eyeshadow brush and I'm going to start really roughly mapping out a large cat eye shape. This can be quite rough and quite blotchy because we're not really going to be paying much attention to it at the moment. We're just roughly getting the shape down to go over it later. I'm going to extend the inner corner of my eyes and leave them open and connect that up to the large cat eye on the outer corner. To create a realistic looking tiger, you do have to keep in mind that they are asymmetrical, so they do not have the same pattern and the exact same shapes on either side of their body. I was changing it up a little bit and making them a little bit uneven. I feel like it's going to give you more of a unique, more realistic looking tiger personally. So what I'm going to do here is curve and change the shape of my face by applying this around the tops of my cheekbones and my forehead to make myself look a lot rounder. To continue changing my face shape, I'm going to take a matte brown eyeshadow and I'm going to contour my nose to make it look a lot wider than it usually is. So I'm going to be applying contours down either side of my nose, but it's going to be pretty much at the base of the sides of my nose, and then I'm going to blend that shadow out onto the beginning of my cheeks. This is going to really flatten my nose and make it look like it is quite spread out on my face. So as you guys can see, it's already looking a lot thicker. Then I'm going to take a fine detailing brush and some black face paint again, and I'm going to start flicking out little hairs around the new base of my nose to curve it and further intensify that nose shape that we just created. After I've done that, I'm then going to actually paint on the little black nose. So the smaller that you make noses, generally it makes the animal look a lot cuter. So I went between a small to medium nose. If you make it too big, it kind of just looks more like a clown. So just keep that in mind when you're painting it. I'm then going to paint my nostrils and make them a little bit larger. I'm going to add almost a little triangle on either side to make them look a lot wider and a lot more pointy. After I've done that, I'm going to connect the top of my nose up with the new sides of my nose. I'm then going to take that same white face paint again to highlight the centre of my face. I'm going to apply that straight down the top of my nose bridge and in the centre of my forehead as well. Once I've got the paint applied, I'm going to use the opposite end of the sponge to blend out that paint to give it a nice soft gradient. I'm then going to apply some horizontal lines across my nose to keep it nice and flat looking and to give it a little bit of texture as well. So I'm applying nice little feathered strokes to give little stripes down the centre. Continuing on with the stripes, I'm going to start with the white fur. So I'm going to take a thicker detailing brush and some white face paint. To create a realistic looking tiger, you need to create nice textured fur. So what I'm doing here is creating light feathered strokes, laying over the top of the black stripes that we just created. Also, I'm going to highlight my inner eye corners with that white paint. This is going to really intensify that new eye shape that we have just created as well. I'm then going to start on the forehead. So as you guys can see, I'm just creating small light little feathered strokes to create a fur pattern, and I'm going to be overlapping that onto the black stripes. I'm going to repeat this process throughout the whole entire tiger look, and you want to just continue layering between your black and your white. Having them overlapping with each other is really going to create a nice textured feel, and it's going to give more of a realistic look as well. You can even take some orange orange if you like, and do that. I'm then going to start on the mouth area, so I'm going to apply a nice little smile on my top lip and fill that in white. This is going to be the little area where my whiskers are going to come from. I wanted the upper lip to be quite rounded, and to achieve that look I had the whiskers tapering off into all different directions to give it a real pouty look. I'm then going to apply some of those stripes across the top of my nose and the sides of my nose. Then it is time to roughly move on to my beard, so I'm just going to be applying some textured white across my chin and across the sides of my face to fill in that area, but we're going to go over that later with some more texture. I'm then going to go back in with some black, and I'm just going to lightly feather out some edges and darken up some areas as well where I want the black to layer over the white. I lightly mapped out my beard across the center of my chin, and then I moved on to my lips. So I'm going to take this Jeffree Star liquid lipstick in the shade Weirdo. I'm going to generously apply that to my lower lip to make it quite large and plump. For my top lip, I didn't want this to have any type of a cupid's bow, so I went with a straight line that was quite thin, almost pretty much eliminating my top lip, but I still needed a little bit of color there. I'm then going to take some more black paint and create the little dots of where my whiskers are going to come out of. Don't actually know what these are called, but it's a cat thing, so I'm just going to put it into the look. I'm then going to take some pink face paint and fill in my nose area, carefully going around the nostrils that we just created as well. To brighten up my eyes, I'm going to take a NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk and heavily line that white liner on my bottom waterline. This is really going to open up the eyes and help out with that inner corner extension that we've created. I'm then going to take some of the Jeffree Star liquid lipstick, and these are safe to use on your eyes. I'm going to be applying that on my eyelids because black face paint always tends to really badly crease even if you do set it. So I just thought, why not use a new product and see how it goes, and I actually really liked how dark it made the whole look, and it stayed that way without creasing. I'm then just going to again go in with some face paint and highlight those inner corners to make the eyes nice and dramatic, and as you can see, it's just really intensified the whole look. To finish off the face, I'm just going to repeat the same steps that we used earlier, where I'm going to use that feathering technique to create a nice textured fur feel. I'm going to apply detail in any areas that I feel like I've previously missed, and I'm just going to really fine tune everything until I'm happy with the overall texture. If you find that throughout all of the layering of the colours you're starting to get a grey and muddy effect, that's okay, just wait for all of the paint to dry completely, and then you can take a more pigmented white or black and place that straight over the top. If you apply less water to your water activated paints, you'll get a more thicker paste, and that should do the trick with covering any mistakes that you've done. I'm then going to take a concealer brush, which is quite thick, and some black face paint, and I'm going to start applying that into a little beard that tapers down the center of my neck into a V shape. So by this point you should be feeling like a tiger and looking like one. It's time to complete the chest. The first thing I'm going to do is create a V shape of my stripes, tapering down into the center of my chest. So they're going to start in the center of my chest and go up to the tops of my shoulders. Also, don't forget guys, as I said earlier on, you do not need to make either side perfectly symmetrical, as long as they look kind of the same to give that general idea of having an even body paint. It doesn't actually have to be the same design because tigers are not symmetrical on either side of their body. I did leave the center of my chest white because I wanted that to be my highlight point, so my stripes are going to come down and finish just a little bit before the center of my chest. I'm just going to thickly create some stripes down the base of my arms because they're not going to be showing on camera, but feel free to continue this design all the way down your arms any way that you please to make it look like a full body paint. I'm also going to apply a little bit of paint onto my ears as well because we did make them orange, so you're going to need some stripes and highlights in there to blend it in with the whole look. So to finish off this look and make it super cute, I applied some whiskers with a fine detailing brush, and I just randomly applied them until I was happy with how it turned out. They do tend to blend into those side contour stripes that you have, so be aware of that when you're painting them on. You will need to leave some space for your whiskers. Do a few touch-ups here and there, and then you are done with the look. So this is the completed tiger if you want to be a little cute angry tiger cub. If you want to be a scary tiger that is covered in blood, I will show you how to do that. So the first step is to take some maroon face and body paint. I just used a red and a black because I didn't have this colour, and I'm going to lightly map out where the blood is going to go. In case any of it smears or rubs off later, you do want to have some type of a base underneath instead of just liquid blood. Next, you're going to need some type of a thickened blood, either a scab blood or a blood gel. So I'm going to be using a blood gel from Mayron, and I'm just going to apply that in all of the areas that we previously mapped out where we want our blood to go. And last but not least, to finish off the mouth, I'm then going to take some liquid blood and I'm going to lightly tap that and smudge that out with my fingers in all of the areas that I feel like it's necessary to dirty up. Don't apply too much or it's just going to ruin all of your hard work and detail. So that's how I create blood that is long lasting around my mouth. If you don't wish to do all of these steps, you can just simply smear liquid blood all over for photography purposes, but if you do wish to wear it out, having a base underneath and some chunky bits definitely does help. So that's it everybody, that is the end of my tutorial. I hope you all enjoyed this scary and cute tiger look. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put up weekly body paint and special effects looks. If you do recreate any of my looks, please tag me on Instagram. I would absolutely love to see them. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.